Hey everyone, and welcome to another Valheim video. Today we're going to talk about why I think Valheim is one of the best, if not the best, survival roleplay game in the last couple of years, and especially in the genre of indie games that have been released. And we are going to talk about 6 points in total, which I'm going to try to outline as simple and quick as possible, but yet as detailed as necessary to give you the point why I think it is a brilliant game with a very bright future. But without further talking, let's jump to the first actual point. So let's talk about the first point, and that is the art style and the setting of this game. So we are here in a abandoned Viking world in which you have set out to be recovering what you already knew in the past. So Valheim plays with the idea that you are a forgotten old Viking lord that has been, very well known in the past, but you forgot everything that you've learned and known in the past, and you are set out to discover this by, gathering resources, look around, fighting some bosses, and just gain back the knowledge you already have. So in the story itself of Valheim, there's already the idea behind this. And I think the setting is so much of a relief and so much of a new, fresh breeze out there. After all these forest-based things or the next apocalypse you are in, this game is really something new, something refreshing. We are set in a Viking world, and I think if it wasn't about Assassin's Creed, which is also putting the Viking hype in there right now, there's basically not really much going on about the Vikings in general in the gaming industry. So it's a brilliant new setting that we haven't been used to in a long time, especially when it comes to crafting, surviving games like that. And I think it's again very refreshing to spot this very new setting, to have the chance to build in a different style, go on a new challenge, and all that kind of stuff. It's very neat and nice. And of course it brings in a lot new potential when it comes to enemies and NPCs. I can see some necks over here is something that you haven't been seen in other games so far, which we're going to kill right now over here. But yeah, there's a lot to love about this setting, and also this rather, it's something in between Minecraft and a very nice high definition graphics. It's something between pixelated and very beautiful. The lighting in this game is amazing, and the simplicity of some of the items and stuff is still fitting very nicely in it. If you look here, this is just gorgeous looking game, and yeah, it just provides you with everything you need. And I think the pixelated looks of things, it doesn't really prevent from a great game and from a great looking game, even in the year 2021, where we are used to the cyberpunks of this world. There's a lot in it to love, and yeah, so this is all about the first point. Let's talk about the second one. Alright, so the next bit we are talking about is the gameplay simplicity in itself and the world we are living in. We talked a little bit about art style, but I think the world and the gameplay itself is a big win for this game. I think the simplicity and the straightforward way of playing it really helps to make it a good game. In many of the surviving games you guys might have played, even if it's Rust or if it's The Forest, all these other games, they mostly have a very long initial building phase before you really go into enjoying the game and moving forward. And some of these games don't really have a real sense of moving forward other than going into a PvP mode. In this game though, things are a little bit different. This game really asks you to move forward. With everything you gather, you unlock new recipes, you unlock new things, and basically to build better and greater and gather new resources. For example, being able to chop down birch trees, which you are not at the beginning because they're too hard. It requires you to move on in the game, to do some stuff, to have progress. And I think this is beautiful because this keeps you playing, this keeps you moving forward, this gives you a reason to discover new things rather than just being in there and having all the resources to build some new stuff after a couple of minutes of gameplay. I love this, and I love the fact how they tied into the world of this thing, because this world, the Valheim world, and if we just quickly go to the map, you can see the world is pretty large, and the world is actually procedurally generated. That means every world you're starting, every seed you're putting in is a different world, but it follows the same rules that apply, and these rules are pretty great. I think you're always starting in this more gentle meadows over here where there's not that many big enemies to be waiting for you here, but in, you know, moving on into other areas, you always find stronger enemies and more resources, and it's really tied into the world rather than scattered around all. And I love the fact how they work this in, and the world itself over here is beautifully made. You have the different areas like the swamps, you have the meadows, you have the plains, you have the high peaks of the winter world. So there's a lot of great stuff in this game to discover, and all these different areas and continents, they have their own resources and their own meaning in this game, rather than just being different biomes. And this is something I really do love about this game, in particular how they work this into the world. And yeah, you can actually tell how much of a beautiful game this is and how much this works together in this game. Alright, so the next point is about the different stages and the progress in the game. I already briefly talked about this, how this game asks you to move forward, but I think specifically how this progress works in this game in itself is already something really beautiful. So the further you go on, the more you unlock in terms of building, in terms of powers, in terms of actually gameplay reasons. You discover new animals, you discover new enemies, you discover new building pieces that help you to, you know, make your armor and stuff better. So there's, with every stage, you are prepared for the exact next stage, and it's really, I think it's balanced pretty well, even though sometimes I think the enemies are a little bit too OP, while then after you've made the progress, they already completely are too easy. So there has to be a little bit of a, you know, rebalancing happening, but most of the times, everything in the progress is really meaningful, and it's a lot of fun, you know. You just, you know, you fight against one boss, let's say the second one, for example, the Elder. The Elder boss is amazing, because then after one you get the power to chop trees faster, which is really great because that helps you a lot out in improving your wonderful base. And this is actually something I really love about the stages in this game. So at this point I would say you definitely have 6 stages, which is the first stage being the beginning phase, where you're really, you know, without anything, as actually pretty normal as in each and every single survival game you've potentially played in the last couple of years. But the second stage is already after you've beat Ike tier, in which you're improving your building skills, you're setting maybe up the first farm, the first food resources and stuff like that. You're going to start doing some stuff, but the real next step is when you've beat against the Elder, which helps you to gain this kind of stuff faster. You get some stone, the stone cutter, and you unlock all these kind of stuff. And then obviously you have each one stage after each boss, and then you have a last stage, which is after beating the last boss, which is at the moment the end game stage, where basically so powerful that you can even set up the craziest, you know, the craziest bases in the plains area, which is basically the end at the moment, but there will be some more stronger stuff in the future, as the developers have already said. And with the overwhelming success of this game, obviously there's a lot more to come, as we all know, and we are all excited for. Back at the stone circle, we talk about now about the next point, which are the powers in this game, which with each and every single boss you actually beat, you will get a new power. At this point in time, I have activated the Ike tier power, which is the first one you get, and the Ike tier power will grant you more stamina, or actually it basically doesn't grant you more stamina, it helps you to gather stamina back faster, and also make sure that you don't lose stamina so quickly. And if you guys have played the game, you will definitely know that stamina is a very vital point in the game, and you have to play the game correctly, and not as I do right now, which is potentially the worst setting ever for stamina, but this is just a showcase. The power helps you a lot. The second one, which is the Elder, I forgot to put the hook on right now, but this is the one that grants you to chop off trees a lot faster. And each of these powers are ready every 20 minutes, and they hold for 5 minutes each, so you have a span of 15 minutes in between using the powers. And the beauty of these powers is you can use them in combination with your teammates. If you play together, just stand close to each other. One of you is activating the power and the other one is actually taking the same power as well. So let's say you've got 5 people and you've got all the 5 powers unlocked. You can use all of these 5 powers at the same time, which doesn't even make you as a single individual stronger. No, it is actually reinforcing the gameplay as a team in this game. And this is making the whole power system so cool and so unique, and also very much likable, because it helps you to play in a team. It makes you understand to play this together rather than one is always gathering resources and the other one is always gathering stuff. You can still do so by using the different powers, you know. The one who's always going to discover the area is most likely using the Ike tier because he can run around a lot faster and more and, you know, without losing too much stamina. The one building the base, which would be me, is always using the Elder one over here because that's helping you to chop down the trees. And then, for example, this one over here, this is the least one we got in this play over here, is the Bone Mass, which is the resistance versus physical damage, which is kind of cool because it modifies and for a quick time span you are less likely to get hit by these three things over here, so you get less physical damage by it, which is kind of cool, and which you will need for the next step when you go to the plains or somewhere. You will definitely need this kind of stuff over here, or specifically for the wolves in the snow biome, which is the next thing we will going to do. But yeah, so it's pretty dang cool how the power system works, because it really helps you to grow in the game. It is meaningful not only for fighting but also for making progress, and this is what I specifically love about that. So the third boss is the first one that really gives you a real benefit in combat mode, you know, in fighting. The first two are really more about discovering and making the world to your own, while the other one's going to help you in combat, obviously, but these ones are to prepare you. However, there's still a lot to love about these first two ones, because especially the stamina one will become very, very relevant in a later stage of the game. If you don't play around with the stamina mode and in combination with all the combat modes, you potentially will not be able to beat the late game, which is pretty good because it still shows that they put a lot of thought into why they would use which at which time, and I kind of love the fact how they tied this in, and yeah, I could go on about this for hours, but I think I made the point and everyone knows what's meant by it. So this is it. This was the next point, the powers in the game, the different ones you get unlocked after each boss, and I think they work together beautifully. So the next point in our top list, why this game is so beautiful, is obviously what is a very vital part of each survival game, and this is the building and crafting. This is something I do love a lot in this game, simply because it took a lot of things that are very good in other survival games and added a layer of even better stuff as well. So first things first, I think the building is brilliant because it's kept rather simple. You know, you have the hammer, which is allowing you to craft. This is the most important item. Without the hammer you can't do anything. This is also the only building item, so to say, you can craft without anything else in around. You can create a hammer, and the hammer is then unlocking you a lot of things you can craft by putting them into 4 different menus, which is the miscellaneous, the crafting menu, the building menu, and the furniture. And obviously, as we talked a lot about the stages and the different way progressing in this game, with each and every step you make ahead, with each and every boss you kind of combat and you defeat, you will unlock new building opportunities, and this will make the building great, and also keeps it interesting. You know, it keeps the building interesting. If we run around a little bit, you can see how different the things in this game are you can create. I made this little wooden serpent over here as a little test, how you can work around creatively with the pieces. By the way, there are no mods used. I have mods installed, but none of these do actually impact the building. This is only a texture mod on top. That's all about it, but the building stays the same. This is a little blacksmith we build over here. You can see there are some other ones. I made kind of a roundish little silo building, which is actually our storage, and then we do have this little boat's house, longhouse, whatever thing this is. I'm not entirely happy with this one, but there's a lot of things you can do with the building, and the building works rather straightforward. You can use these pieces, you know, plop them down to the ground, they snap to each other. There's a brilliant snapping system in the game, and it works, you know, I have to say it works surprisingly well for a game that easy. Well, that was me messing up that early on, and especially in comparison to other survival games that, you know, most likely have a very wonky building system and a very frustrating one. This one is actually really good. It's really, really good. So that's all about the most vital part for me personally, but that's just my liking. The building in this game and the crafting is amazing, and we're not talking about the building, let alone the crafting in the different stages, and hence I'm just going to quickly enter our little blacksmith. You are always improving the different things you can build, and on the forge, for example, you will always unlock new craftable special items you will unlock after time. Same goes for the crafting table and the stone maze as well. So loads of things you can unlock during the time, and we are only halfway through. So that's the beauty of this game, and I love it, and I can only recommend to try it out because it's a whole bunch of fun and it is really meaningful. So let's move on to the last point on our list. And the last point in our list is the combat, and this is why I moved into the Black Forest. And the combat mode in this game, I think, is specifically interesting, and also it is not just a generic splatter. It's not like the better you get, you just punch the enemies. No, it actually does ask you to learn about the way you have to play the game and you have to fight in the game. Now, for example, I'm now in the Black Forest, which does work the way it is right now because I'm already pretty advanced in the game. However, if you go into more advanced areas, I would definitely need a shield to use some blocking and stuff like that, because this is very nicely balanced in this game. So you have to really tie in all the things you learn. You have to tie in blocking, the perfect timing, you have to have the right actually the right items, because sometimes the sword is better, sometimes the arrow and bow is better, and sometimes actually the mace is better. So you always have to balance which things you're also going to use against which enemies, and this is extremely important in this game. When it comes to later stage enemies that are a lot stronger, you have to balance the way you fight with your different shields, with your different way of combating the enemies. You have some poisonous stuff, you have fire arrows, for example, and all these things together will make you become a lot better in this game when it comes to fighting and the combat mode. So you can actually see I can also use the bow and arrow now over here. I think I do have some fire arrows at the moment. Well, my skill is not too good, but obviously these greylings are animals or kind of enemies that live in the forest, so they are made out of wood. That means obviously fire is pretty overpowered against them, simply because they are made out of wood, and wood and fire do not really go well together, and this is why you would be very likely to use these kind of things in order to make sure to combat these enemies. I would not really need that right now, simply because I do have a pretty strong sword and everything else, and strong armor, but these things together are very important. And always keep an eye on your stamina, because stamina is actually what you require in this game. Let me just show you. If I do just punch my sword around, you can see how my stamina goes down, and I don't really pay attention. Then I'm just standing around here, and if an enemy comes around right now, I'm out of stamina and I can't really combat the enemy. As we speak, there is someone over here, and you also have a specific attack that is the middle mouse button, and if you time that correctly, you can one-hit an enemy. So there's a lot of stuff to love about. Alright, so this has been it in the list. I've got excuse me guys, what's going on with you? So see you later. And you mate can go as well. There you go. So you can see you can time the things correctly, and then it's pretty easy in this area. But the later stage, as I said, is a lot more harder to play. Anyways, guys, there's one more bonus one I have in the list, and then this is a goodbye for today's video. I hope you appreciated my opinion on why I think this game is so good. But now let's go to the bonus one. Alright, the bonus one is the atmosphere of this game. With everything we've talked about, this game comes with a very specific Viking atmosphere. The music choice and the music in this game is amazing. I love the music. It is so atmospheric. It is so cozy at times, so dark at other times. It is the perfect balance between, emphasizing the coolness and the coldness of the night, and the coziness and the warmth and the loveliness, so to say, of the builds you've done sitting by the fire and getting some rest. This is way better than in most games I've played. It's a lot to love about. The atmosphere by the lighting and the environment is also, very nicely designed, and just in general, it looks absolutely fantastic. It feels fantastic, and it sounds fantastic. So yeah, all in all, I'm very much convinced by this game. I think it has a bright future, and I hope you guys enjoyed this little showcase why I think this game is absolutely magnificent and one of the best, if not the best, survival RPG game of the last years. And I can't wait to see more of this game, to play more in this game, and to create new buildings. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did enjoy and what you think about the game, please let me know in the comments down below what you love about the game or what you hate about the game. It's totally fair to have your own opinion, of course, and I would love to know what you guys love or hate the most about Valheim. So thank you so much for watching. As always, if you want to have more content about Valheim and stuff, please make sure to subscribe if you do enjoy the content.